Hello, Star Wars fans. This is Anatosh Ordo, and today I'm going to be talking about The Last Jedi. I just got done watching it, and it was a lot better, in my opinion, than The Force Awakens. And it wasn't as fast-paced as Force Awakens was. At least that's what it didn't feel like to me. So, yes, I'm going to do spoilers, and this is also my review for Star Wars Episode 8. I will still go through and review the rest of the movies. I just have been busy and I haven't got to those videos specifically yet. But I will get my reviews out for Episode 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, Rogue One, and then I also have lined up Clone Wars, Star Wars the TV show Rebels, and I'll actually do the micro series too. So but those will come within due time. So, yes, I just got back like hour and a half or so ago from watching Star Wars, The Last Jedi, and wow, the twist, the trailers made you feel like it's going to be like a copy of The Empire Strikes Back. Yes, there's a lot of rhyming to Empire Strikes Back, like the walkers and stuff like that actually happens at the end of the movie, not the beginning. So, and yeah, again, I forgot to mention, yes, this is one of the times I'll be talking about spoilers, and since this is a newer movie, if you don't want to watch this right now, go watch the movie before you watch this review. And then you guys can do your own review if you feel like it, and more power to you if you do. I encourage you, if you want to do a video, go for it. But for the most part, yeah, this one was a really interesting tidbit of, for Star Wars. So, yeah, Star Wars Episode 8. It begins where the Resistance are escaping the planet they were left off of, and they're in the process of escaping. Excuse me. And then the First Order catches up to them, and they bring in a dreadnought. So, a dreadnought. And it has these big powerful cannons, so it bombs the base, but they just escaped. And then they escape to they don't escape to hyperspace right away. Poe decides to pull the starfighters and stuff to go after the dreadnought, because if they could take down a dreadnought, that's one less dreadnought to worry about. And yeah, that is true. And then he goes, they help take it down, but they lose a lot of ships. They lose their new bomber style, and I feel like they're more like bomber freighters than bomber starfighters. They're not even a starfighter. They don't dogfight or anything. They do have some cannons to protect against starfighters, but they're just, I don't know. I kind of like the design of it. It's a different take on a bomber. But for the most part, it's just not as, well designed as actually a bomber starfighter. Like, they could have still used like a couple of Y-wings, because that would have helped bomb. It wouldn't have done a lot of damage to, the dreadnought because of how big it was, but the bombers got through. These new bombers did, because they had like a tower of bombs to drop. So, they get through that. They lose a lot of ships. They do escape. Then it also kind of cuts back and forth between them and raid training and stuff like that. Then, it's really interesting. It is really interesting. Like, as soon as so going to the race side of it, you get to see the continuation of the scene from the end of Episode 7. He takes a lightsaber, finally, after a few seconds or however long, and he throws it behind him and walks away. So, I don't know. I feel like, I'll say this, throughout the whole episode of Star Wars Episode 8, I feel like they did Luke Skywalker, they didn't really do his character as well as I hoped they would. I still say the same with Rey, because Rey is, still seems like she's still like a Mary Sue type character, but not at the same time. I can understand the fact where the Force chose her, not like the Chosen One, but even though the Chosen One, he had a lot of midichlorians, Anakin did, and he could pilot really early on, but for Rey to have no lightsaber experience, but still be able to fight the way she did, kind of kind of, really makes it seem like the Force really helped her along. But at the same time, some of us do have to realize she has had a staff growing up for a while, and she's, really well trained with that staff. And yes, I know it's a transition from staff to like a sword in a sense, like a bow staff to a sword, but there's still some of that training because she had to defend herself against other scavengers, and that was the way that she defended herself. So yeah, that's that part. But for the most part, yeah, I still feel like her character was not done really well. They do kind of answer the fact that that she knew about her parents and they just left her because her parents were drunken people or something, but I don't know. I feel like that's still kind of an open end, like maybe that was just the influence of Kylo Ren. But anyways, going back to the fleet though, the Resistance come out of hyperspace. They think they're safe, but here comes more ships, and the dreadnought, the big dreadnought, wide dreadnought of Snoke's ship, and they're all charging after. But for the most part, they decided to flee as much as they can. They lost a bunch of ships. They're down to like 3 ships. They're in the fleeing mode. They only have 1 jump, but they show the fact that they can be tracked through light speed. And that one's kind of really interesting, that they have new technology that can track through light speed. Used to, they can track through like some space trails, but not as efficient as the new technology they got. So that's something new and different, to be able to track through light speed. So yeah, they mentioned that, and so they're fleeing, and they throw up everything to rear deflector shields and engines. The weapons aren't on before. And also, this is the part where Kylo Ren actually goes and attack during that you see during the trailer, where he's attacking the Raddus. And he was about to blow up of course, the scene that we see going through kind of a tunnel thing, that's where the hangar is. That's not where Leia is sitting. That's where the hangar is. So there's that kind of transition that they did, the trick they did with the trailer, or the teaser trailers and stuff. But he eventually swoops back, gets out there, swoops around, and he's about to target the bridge, but he holds off because he knows his mom's on there. The neighboring Special Forces TIE fighters shoot him, shoot at the bridge, and out goes Leia into space. However, we do see in a later scene that she comes back. So that one was interesting. You could tell that the Force was in the process of protecting her. I thought that was the end of her character, but it's not. She does make it through to the end. I'm going to try not to go into too much details more. I'm just going to say that they eventually decide to escape the Raddus and flee to a local planet. Rey eventually, during some of the training, after it took her a while to get to training, decided to actually, make her way and train, or make her way to go find Kylo Ren, because there's like a connection. There's like a Force bridge connection now that apparently the two of them, Rey and Kylo Ren, can literally physically touch each other's hands or something. It's just a weird concept of a Force bridge connection. And so it kind of makes me, it kind of reminds me of a similar connection to the exile from KOTOR 2 to Kreia. There's like that connection, a Force connection, but it's a little different this time than, that type of Force connection. So, there's that, but also it is revealed that Snoke was the one that was helping bridge that connection from afar. So I don't know, it's really interesting how they decide to make some new Force abilities. So we do see that Snoke does use lightning. So if anyone's that watches my Star Wars Galaxy Hero videos, they will see that we might see Snoke as a legendary dark side character. You need Resistance to unlock, and they may actually have it where, you know, his basic is similar to Palpatine's. And then, you know, he has, you know, very force pushes and stuff, or force grips and holds, kind of like what Kylo Ren does, unmasked. So even though it is weird to see Kylo Ren unmasked version do that when it was really the, you know, the masked version of Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren also destroys his helmet, so there's a lot to that. Big spoiler alert. I don't know if I want to spoil this part. You know, I'm just going to. Yoda is in the movie. Right there, I said it. 10 minutes, 33 seconds in. Yes, Yoda is in the movie. He talks to only Luke. But I'm not going to spoil too much more. I want to kind of not, you know, dumbing it down a bit. I want you guys to go see it. See it for yourself, really. But for the most part, there are a few things I still want to talk about on it, but mainly, the point is, it is better than Episode 7. It's not as fast-paced as Episode 7. It's way different. It throws you through so many loops. Like, you're thinking this is happening, and then something else happens, or something like that. Of course, there was a scene at the end where Kylo's facing Luke, and I thought that was going to be another cliffhanger. I really thought that was going to be the end of the episode. I'm like, are you serious? But it continues on. I'm like, oh, good. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. So, but yeah, I would say for the most part, I don't want to spoil the rating of Episode 7, but I'm going to. I'm going to give Episode 7 a 6.5 to 7.0 out of 10. That's in the range of, you know, that's probably the lowest I'll give a Star Wars movie, because to me, Episode 7 just was not there. There's a lot of unanswered questions. Episode 8 did answer quite a few of them. It kind of answered Rey's parents a little bit. I don't know. It does answer a few more things in there. You just got to go see it, though. But mostly, there's still some unanswered questions. Like, who is Snoke? That was not answered. That was not answered in the movie. And I'm like, why do we not have that answer? You know, because it's said that he was like he was alive during the Clone Wars and, Galactic Republic era, I think, something like that. And I'm like, oh, come on. Of course, my wishing and hoping would be that Snoke is, you know, Palpatine that came back through essence transfer or something. But, you know, I hope they do, like, write a book of Supreme Leader Snoke or something, so we get the backstory of who Snoke is, what his powers and abilities are. Because to me, he seemed like, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but he doesn't seem as powerful as Palpatine. Palpatine, I would say, of course, I will say there's no lightsaber. He doesn't show a lightsaber. He's just all force power, yada yada. But I feel like Palpatine would just smoke him. Smoke, But he would destroy him. Palpatine's way stronger, at least in my opinion, at least in my experience as of this date, up to this date. I see that Palpatine would destroy him. Especially Legends Palpatine. Oh man, he'd just walk right over him. Just step it. He just stand up, face him, face to face, kind of like one of those, you know, Fast and Furious moments where Dom is standing in front of his enemy, like nose to nose, and then all Palpatine has to do is go, and then Snoke goes flying through the wall, something like that. That's how powerful I see Palpatine compared to Snoke. He's just doesn't bring anything to the table that we've already seen. He uses a little bit of electricity in the movie. But for the most part, he doesn't bring much to the movie. Now for the Royal Guards for Snoke, those guards would destroy Emperor Palpatine's guards. To me at least, you know, if you're looking at, movie to movie, his guards have a variety of more weapons. They have energy setups to deflect lightsabers. They just are a really cool design. Like, we see similarities to them and, Emperor Palpatine's Royal Guards, or even Star Wars The Old Republic's Sith Empire's Royal Guards, but for the most part, they do feel different. They do have that different feel compared to other Royal Guards. So, yeah, I'll give a nod up to that. Supreme Leader Snoke has the best Royal Guards. As for capital ship, I still say Palpatine's Legends capital ship is by far better. It would probably I will say it probably will take 2 Eclipse lasers to destroy the ship because of how long it is. How wide, I should say. That thing is huge. It's like 20, 30 Star Destroyers across. I don't know. It's huge. I will say this. A ship uses light speed to destroy another ship in the movie. Like I said, I don't want to spoil the whole thing if you haven't seen it, but if you have, you'll know which one I'm talking about. They decided, because you never see it in movies. Like, you hear kind of stories, like in Star Wars Rebels, you do hear the stories of those space whales, flying through ships in hyperspace, but you don't ever see a ship blast into light speed and take out another ship, let alone a few more. And it does take out multiple ships, but that's because the debris is still traveling through light speed, so it's going to go through. And that is one effective way to do that. Granted, yes, there was a small ship against Darth Vader's Star Destroyer and Rogue One. It wasn't in the process of light speed, or would have done some more damage to the ship. It was probably about to come in, but the Star Destroyer came out of light speed, still had its good shields up, and just plowed through it. And plus, Star Destroyer was bigger. But in this case, the ship that plows through the bigger ship, it's smaller, but still, light speed is a way to blow up big ships. Which is something makes me wonder why they get the shields down. If they have a high damage ship, but it still has light speed, eject everyone, as many as you can. Of course, it might be a sacrifice pilot or two. And just light speed through the Death Star's super laser on episode 6. Solve that problem. Then all you have to do is get to the point where you can get to the point of bombarding it, and the Death Star is literally useless. But yeah, we don't ever see that. We never see that in movies before, because that's sometimes a way to deal with problems. Like in episode 7, if they found a big enough ship, especially packed it with explosives, because that shield on Starkiller Base actually was it would stop things slower than light speed. All you have to do is use light speed and throw it into the oscillator. The chain reaction of the explosions, everything, the debris still flying through light speed as it's slowing down. And, we know things that when they're going really fast and they slow down, they still kind of travel far. Like if you're going to break, or debris flying through walls, stuff like that. I can see where that would make sense. That would have done a lot of damage to Starkiller Base, to the point where it could have probably disabled the laser. Or they could have just taken get a big enough ship, maybe throw some droid pilots on it, sacrifice droid pilots, who cares about that, and send the droid piloting the ship in light speed, and just take out the cannon of Starkiller Base. I would just destroyed everything. Of course, yes, I know Rey was on the Starkiller Base, so all they had to do is rescue her, pull her back, but yeah, I know that was just they couldn't really 100% dealt that unless they sacrificed Rey. But that was a way to take out the Starkiller Base, though. That is a way. But yeah, for the most part, like I said, I gave Force Awakens about a 6.57 out of 10. I'm gonna give this one an 8.1 out of 10. It was a lot better. I felt, it was more Star Wars-like. There was new characters, creatures. And yes, I will spoil this. The Crystal Foxes are actually... They felt like Loth Wolves. If you watch Star Wars Rebels, Loth Wolves from Lothal kind of lead the Rebels through dangerous areas. And that's what the Crystal Foxes do. And it's kind of cool. It really is. So, but if you're if you haven't seen the movie, please go see it. Well, you should have been gone and seen it before, watching this video, but if not, then sorry, that was not my fault. You clicked on this. But yeah, this movie, I will say, is an 8.1 out of 10. There could still been room for improvement. I feel like Luke Skywalker's character was not dealt a good hand. He could have been better. Like, he could have still, moved on in the end, but I still feel like he could have done so much more. He could have been a little better. I feel like it kind of makes sense where he didn't have 100% guidance. Like Yoda said, teach what you have learned, but he didn't, do it as well. He went to find old Jedi scripts, but like old ancient Jedi scripts, not like the Old Republic era, like way before then, or a little bit before then, of Jedi scripts of, how to run the Force, and he was going based off that. I don't know. I feel like he could have done better. They could have done better with Luke. I feel like they could have done better with Rey. They could have given her a little more challenge, especially in episode 7, but for the most part, yeah, that's where we lead off. I will say this, Luke, Anakin, Rey lightsaber is now cracked in half, so is her crystal, from what it looked like. So this is my speculation for episode 9. I am going to do a separate video as well, so that you don't have to watch this whole video, but things I want to speculate for episode 9. We get some more info on Snoke, even though, yes, he's dead, but I hope we get more info on him, or at least between now and episode 9, we get some more info on him. But I kind of actually hope to see, I know it sounds weird, but I kind of want to see Snoke come back. I want to see and hear the thought of essence transfer coming from Legends to canon. Or even Palpatine coming back. And he just, used the minion of Snoke and had him plan to take over before he came back. Because he wanted a normal aging clone or something of that nature. But even then, normal aging clone would be, unless he wanted to be, that same old age with the experience, or he wanted to go off and learn new powers before he came back as true power. But, I still want to see, like, essence transfer be made into canon. So yeah, that's one great thing. With Rey's lightsaber, I really, really, really want to push to see, not just push, but like hope to see that Rey actually decides to build a lightsaber staff, or a double-bladed lightsaber like Darth Maul, or even what my wife pointed out is, because one thing she could have learned from one of the Snoke guards, because one of the Snoke guards takes their little dueling staff, takes it apart and uses it 2 lightsabers. Kind of like Asajj Ventress, where in Clone Wars she uses it to where she connects her curved hilt double-bladed lightsaber into a staff and takes it apart, puts it together. I'm actually okay with that. Not a Darth Maul 2 lightsabers welded together. I want 2 separate lightsabers that can come apart and go back together. That would be really the game changer of, a lightsaber. And it would really, I bet it could even throw Kylo Ren off. Like, he might have trained with the guards of Snoke, which would give him somewhat of an advantage, but it is a lightsaber, and all she has to do is do the turn on, turn off trick that was actually shown in the movie a little bit. But yeah, that's where I stand. Like, I hope those things happen. I hope we get last names for Rey, for Finn. I actually hope that they show that Finn and Poe may be actually Force sensitive. I would be okay with that. And then Rey needs to start training these 2. Because Poe seems like... Because if you watch the movie, Poe, at the beginning, he seems like he has, like, Anakin Skywalker level piloting. Where he instantly flips... Like, I'm not saying 100% like Anakin, but he has some skills like Anakin would have. And I feel like Finn and Poe have the capability of being... Force sensitive. They just haven't, detected that yet. And which this would also mean that if Finn was Force sensitive, it'd be a way of him getting away from the First Order in the first place, because he would sense that, difference, that out of balance, that, that different morality, through the Force, and the Force is, guiding him. And that's what I'm hoping, and then maybe that would be, she's at the end, Rey starts training those two, as well as another character that you'll see in the movie. That one I'm going to leave out of this. There's another Force user that's not Luke, Kylo, Rey, or Snoke, or even Leia. Leia was confusing on that one. She comes back she's blasted into space, but the Force protects her enough to where she gets back in. And it makes sense. It does make sense. The Force can protect in that. Of course, it would have a limited, protection. But at the same time, we go to and from, scenes like Rey and Rey's battle scene, or Rey's training is taking time at the same time as all the events of the battle on the two fleets. So, but yeah, this one seemed like it was a lot more in space, so it's not 100% like Empire Strikes Back. There are some similarities, but to be honest, I felt like more of Return of the Jedi was in there with rhyming than Empire Strikes Back. The Supreme Leader Snoke's room, you got the big, executor type ship. Of course, that was Empire Strikes Back, but it was also Return of the Jedi. I don't know. It just felt, like a lot more like Return of the Jedi. Snoke had, the lightsaber by his hand on the throne. What's sad though is we do know that Admiral Akbar finally dies. He bites the dust finally. Unfortunately, he wasn't there fast enough to call it's a trap. But he'll be remembered. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What did you like about this movie? I know this is going to be probably my longest review, but then again, I'm kind of reviewing what I've liked and picked up. I may do another video or two on talking about the Last Jedi. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys watching, especially all the way to the end. I know it's a long video, and you can cut back and forth, and I'm okay with that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and you guys have a wonderful day. And please get a chance to watch it again. I'm actually looking forward to watching it again in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, and again, enjoy your day, and may the Force be with you.